Listen to the Vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. And I'm very privileged to have Mr. Larry Hankin here. Actor, paints and writes and does all these wonderful things. We're going to learn a little bit about him today and have a great conversation. So, Larry, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, there's so much to tell, but I'll make it short. I was born in Manhattan, New York, Manhattan General Hospital. We moved to Far Rockaway, Long Island. I grew up on the beach. I was a lifeguard for a while, and then I went to, and I was a funny guy. So, I mean, that's my calling, I guess. I was always funny. I guess it's a way to make friends, you know, and I had a talent for it. So I picked it up fast, and I would collect jokes and stuff. So it's always been in my DNA, I guess. I mean, all through public school, high school, college, I did plays in college. I graduated as an industrial designer. I went to Syracuse University. So I got a degree in industrial design. I went to Syracuse because my parents demanded that I go to college. I didn't want to go. But I saw, and I couldn't go very far away. Like I couldn't go to Europe or I couldn't go to the West Coast. We lived on the East Coast. I had to be where they could drive up to visit me. That was their rules. So I started industrial design. So Syracuse University had an industrial design department, and I focused on the word design. And so I thought, well, art, you know, how art influences industry, and industry influences design. That was not what it was about. It was about math and calculus and engineering. And I just, because I didn't do any research, I just saw the word design. Oh, that's art. Okay, I'll sign up for that. So, but I stuck it out. I mean, I was a good student because I'm a good, I guess I can draw good. So I was drawing designing cars and stuff to go to, we were like the A-team miners for Detroit to design cars. I mean, that's what industrial design really was all about. When you got to graduation, you were supposed to go to Detroit. You know, you could design, right, you could design guitars, you could design toothpaste tubes, you could design bicycles. But really what Syracuse wanted you to do was go to Detroit and design cars. And I didn't want to do that, but my best friend in college was Carl Gottlieb, who wrote all the Jaws movies, or 4 of them anyway. So he wanted to be a writer, and I asked him where he wanted to go. We were graduating at the same time, but he was in a drama department. And I had done a couple of funny parts in the drama department while I was in industrial design. So he said he's going to Greenwich Village and he's going to be a writer. And I said, okay, I'm not going to Detroit. So how about if you want a roommate? And he goes, yeah, that'd be cool. So I just threw the whole industrial design 5 years of college just out the window. I sent my parents my degree, and I went to Greenwich Village and cleaned bars from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And I thought it was great.
Wow.
I thought, man, am I glad I didn't go to Detroit, man. Yeah, and that's the God's honest truth. I just didn't want to be a designer or an engineer, whatever. Cleaning bars, fine. Because I knew something would turn up. In other words, I always had that belief. Something's going to turn up. I mean, after 3 days of not doing anything, sometimes I get like edgy. You know, when's my next job? When's my next audition? When's the next? I was more, when's the next? Two of my mantras. When's the next thing gonna come at me? Because I know things come at you. It's life. And so when's the next? And I can do it better. So those are the two. That's how I get through life. There's something gonna come. I just have to sit tight and not get frustrated over it. It's going to come. And when it comes, if I don't do it well, I can do it better. That's all. That's all I know. So I was hanging around. I had my evenings free because I was cleaning a bar from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. and stealing food from the grill. There was a bar and grill because I was starving. You can't make enough to pay rent in New York, busing bars and cleaning up peanut shells from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. It's not in the cards. So I was just stealing canned goods, things that wouldn't spoil.
Right.
And maybe sometimes a side of bacon. But it was just to eat. I mean, I wasn't selling the stuff. And there was no internet. I couldn't, sell it. So, Carl would pay, and Carl guaranteed me 1 month's rent. In other words, I couldn't come up with the rent for 1 month, half the rent. He would pay my half, but he would only do it once. So I had a month's kind of wiggle room. And then he was drafted, and oh my God, man, I didn't know what to do. I mean, he just left. It was he just got drafted and gone. I mean, I think I had 2 weeks notice. Hey, I'm drafted. I'm leaving in 2 weeks. So I had 2 weeks. Thank God it was the beginning of the next month. So he paid for the 1 month and then he split. So I got a roommate, and that didn't work out. But luckily, my evenings were free, so I'd hang around the coffee houses in Greenwich Village. And I was funny, and I would be watching open mic nights because you could just sit with a cup of coffee, and you could sit the whole night until I had to go to work at 2 a.m. So, and I thought, wait a minute, all there was open mic nights at comedians and folk singers, it was the 60s.
Right.
So I thought, I can't play the guitar, but I'm funnier than those guys. There was no women comedians in the 60s. They slowly started to sneak in. So I was watching, and I said, hey, I can do that. So it was open mic nights. All you had to do was sign up, and you just get up on the stage, and you had 3 minutes. So that's what I was doing. And thank God I had a very steep learning curve. I picked it up really fast. But in the beginning, I was awful, man. I mean, really awful. But when I came off the stage, there's no reason I would get back on the stage. I mean, I was just they didn't laugh, nothing. But I just said, right, I can do it better next time. I mean, that's all I said. That's the most, I don't know if I can do that now. Say that again, what?
You said you learn as you go.
Well, yeah, now you tell me. Where were you, back in the 60s, Thank you.
Wasn't thought of yet.
But, yeah, I mean, I finally picked it up. If you do it, you just get better at it. I mean, just by doing it, keep on doing it. Maintenance is the key word. So that's how I got into show business, and then the rest is history, And then I started to get into critical thinking, because here's the thing about open mic nights. There is a great upside to open mic nights. I mean, they were the best times because open mic night audiences know what the score is. They come knowing that this is open mic nights. Everybody they're going to watch is, amateurs. It's open mic nights. Yeah, you just sign up and get up on stage. So they knew, hey, this guy's awful. 3 minutes. I can just sit here and wait for my friend to get up there, because that's why they were there, because they were there for their friend. So nobody booed, nobody hissed, nobody left, because then you would boo and hiss when their friend goes up. So open mic audiences came with the foreknowledge of patience, which is all you can ask for an audience, especially if you're a comedian. So they didn't laugh, but there was no noise. I mean, you just came off the stage and say, wow, nobody laughed. I can do it better. I know what I did wrong. I set up the joke different. I just all these. But I just kept going back. I mean, I had nothing else to do until 2 a.m. I mean, I was just bored, in the middle of Greenwich Village. Everybody was either in the audience or on a stage. It was just, I always thought of it as, what was it, the circuit, the old, in the 1890s, the vaudeville, the vaudeville circuit. Well, I always thought that, I see, because all the coffee houses were in Greenwich Village. I mean, there's maybe 40 coffee houses within a 10-block square area. I mean, it was Greenwich Village in the 60s, and everybody was a folk singer and comedians. That was all there was. so you would sign up in all of them. You would go around. So you would kind of know, okay, if everybody has 3 minutes and a couple of people have 5 minutes, I could go on in about an hour and a half. So you'd sign up, and so you would calculate. I got an hour before I go on here. I got about a half hour before I go on here. I got about 15 minutes before I go on here. I can do 3 minutes over there and run over here for 15 minutes. Then, blah, blah, blah. So you would have the entire vaudeville circuit in 10 blocks. You would just do a year's worth of comedy, 3 minutes at a time. And then you could, by the time you got back to the one at midnight, you could go back to the first one you did at 8 o'clock or 8:30. So you do another. So you could do like 15 shows a night. I'm not kidding. You would run your ass off just running because they weren't right next to one another. You had to run 2 blocks, and they were, crisscross and stuff. But that's what I was doing. So it filled the hours from 8:30 until 1 a.m. I had my night filled. And then I'd go bust, the bar.
Back to the grind.
Back to the grind, but there was food there. So I even had impetus to keep going there. But I only did that for 2 weeks, the bar.
Really?
Well, because I was afraid they would find out, the chefs would find out there's food missing. I mean, I try to take things that were protein. In other words, I didn't just take anything. I try to purloin things that were healthy and that would keep me from not going to a doctor because I couldn't afford it. So it's still like protein, like little cans of sausages, some bacon slabs if they had a lot of bacon, something they wouldn't see was missing, but it was protein. Even though I don't eat bacon anymore, but things like that, and vegetables. I would steal a lot of vegetables, canned vegetables mainly, and I was always wear a raincoat to work, always for the 2 weeks. That's Harpo Marx. I got that from Harpo Marx. He would always steal spoons. They would always in his raincoat. Right. I watching Harpo Marx. I go, yeah, great, Harpo, thank you. But I just wouldn't let anybody come near me. I would just show up at like 10 after 2, just after the last call. So the bar was emptying already. I would just go get my brooms and my whatever I needed. So I wouldn't have to talk to anybody, and I'd take my raincoat off and I'd hang it up. Well, it was empty when I showed up. Yeah. But when I left, the chefs would come in at 6:30 a.m. to set up because it was a bar and grill for set up for breakfast and stuff.
Right.
So they would let me out. I don't know why they locked me in. I would imagine they would tell me to lock the door so nobody could get in. But for some reason, when the last person left, I think it was always a chef, left the last person or the manager, he would lock me in from the outside. He would lock the door. So I was locked in. I couldn't go anywhere. But when I left, the chef would open the door and I would put on my raincoat. I had already gone through the refrigerator and stuff, and I had my raincoat on. And the cans, they're bulky. So, but the slabs of bacon I could put behind my back, just for you people who are cleaning bars and are hungry. And I would stand by the door, right by the door. The door is over here. The door would open, and the chef would come in, and I'd say, "Hi, Gary, how you doing?" And I didn't want to shake hands with him. I didn't want him to see if there was any bulges or anything. Go home. So that was kind of the beginning of my philosophy, I guess, of life. It's, I got it from Chaplin. Actually, yeah. So I got the raincoat from Harpo Marx, and I got my attitude from Chaplin. And somebody told me, I was taking some sort of class or something, and he said, "Why is Chaplin always, why, what was it? 2 things. Why is Chaplin always poor?" Because he was talking to me. I was saying, Charlie Chaplin is funny. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Yeah, but Charlie Chaplin, why is he funny?" I said, "Well, because he's a tramp." So he said, "Well, yeah, but what?" Yeah. So you see, so what he was telling me, I think finally told me, he said, "Look, Charlie can do crap that you can't do, like steal candy from a baby or punch an old lady. You can't do that because he has the moral high ground and you don't. He is starving. So if he punches an old lady, which I don't think he really punched an old lady, but he would harass them because they had food or money. You know, he would figure out some funny way of getting money or food or a place to sleep. But it was always because he had the moral high ground. He was poorer than anybody else in the movie. So he could at least steal something to get at least even, like food or $1. Or he would pick up cigarettes from the, you know, when this guy was smoking a cigarette, he'd throw it away. He'd pick it up and he'd smoke it. And you would laugh and think it's funny. But if a normal person picked up somebody's cigarette, you'd go, oh, ugh, you know, well, why'd you do it? But he had the moral high. So I always thought I had the moral high ground. I was broke. That's why I could take the food. And the other thing was that the moral high ground thing, that I could do satire, a kind of black comedy kind of stuff, because I was in the village and everybody understood we're all broke here. You know, everybody's a folk singer, or everybody came from uptown to see all the broke people. You know, so and then I started to do critical thinking stuff. George Carlin, Lenny Bruce, Richie Pryor.
Yeah.
And that got blowback. That and so I was making money. I didn't have to do the bar thing. I was getting booked. Like I would open for the acts on Friday and Saturday night. They would pay you for that. You know, you didn't have to pass the hat. So that and then I got a roommate so I could pay my own way. And then I got a manager and I was opening for Woody Allen. And then I was boom. Then I was in show business and I had money. I could buy a car. I could pay for plane fares, you know, being booked all over the United States. So that was show business. And, you know, I eventually ended up in the movie, and that's how you know to call me to interview me. But that took years. But that's what I was doing. I was on the road. I did arena shows with the Love and Spoonful and the Blues Project and Blood, Sweat and Tears. And, you know, I would open for them. They got tired of, you know, having these opening rock bands, you know, from the local band. So they said, hey, let's get Larry, because they remember me from Greenwich Village. Zal Yanovsky and the other guy from the band, I forgot his name, but he was the one who got the band together. They came into
Sebastian,
yeah. And so they came into the committee. I was also doing, you know, I got into Second City, so I was there for about a year. And then we broke away and we opened up the committee in San Francisco. And then one day, Zal and what was his name again?
John Sebastian.
John Sebastian. John Sebastian and Zal came into the committee in San Francisco. They were touring the band. Mm-hmm. And they came in to watch a show and they said, hey, man, we remember when we were just guitar players and folk singers in Greenwich Village about 2 years ago. We would come in and see you. You were really funny. You were a stand-up comedian. I go, oh, yeah. So you're here now? I go, yeah. So we're going on tour. We want to open with a comedian, not a rock band. Would you be our opening act? And I go, yeah, man. That was like running away with a circus, you know, running away with opening for a rock band to tour the United States.
Right.
So I was doing that, and the blowback was really severe. I mean, people would boo me off the stage, and cops would pull me off the stage. I went in Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri. 20 policemen pulled me off the arena stage.
No.
10 cops on both sides, you know, on the wall arena, on the wall aisles. Came up.
That's a real Lenny Bruce moment there.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what it was. I mean, you know, but they were killing Lenny, and I wasn't doing drugs then. I mean, I had not, when the cops were pulling me off the stage, so I'd gone all through Greenwich Village, opening for Woody, opening for a lot of acts in New York, then going on tour. My manager, which was Woody's manager, you know, I was on tour. I was opening in nightclubs all over the United States, flying around. Then I started to do rock band things, and I was opening for the rock bands, doing that tour, and then getting hipper because the college audience, I think these are my people. These are the minds I have to get to, because I was starting to do Lenny's material. But what happened was I wasn't even doing drugs, which is why they were busting Lenny, really. But they would pull me off the stage, and I thought that the cops didn't even know why they were pulling me off the stage. Because what happened was in Missouri, in Washington University, the what do you call it? The dean of the college. When I start to get into my Lenny Bruce stuff, I'd open with clean stuff for about 10 minutes, and I'd go into this, head stuff, drugs, sex, and rock and roll, that kind of stuff, marijuana. And then, so they called the cops. As soon as I started doing and cursing, I said, fuck on stage, whoa. So they called the cops in the back. So the audience started throwing stuff, they took the armrests off of the seats, off of the wooden armrests off of these old, and they were throwing them at me, man. If one of those hit me, I would have been injured really badly. So I talked to the audience. I said, hey, stop. What are you doing, man? You're a college audience. I mean, what happened to these critical thinkings? You're supposed to be sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I was like talking to them, shouting at them. And they answered back, no, just do the funny stuff. Do the other stuff. We don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear about sex, drugs, and rock and roll? No, we want to hear the clean stuff. I go, what the
That's crazy.
Is going on? I said that to him. I said, what, are you crazy? I actually, and they shut up and listened. When I started to talk to them, like, hey, what is going on? You're college students. You should be laughing at this stuff. I mean, that's what was going on, and so I just joined Second City because I couldn't take the shouting. And from Second City, went to the committee, and then I got into movies. And I just was up to here with, I just want to do what's in my head. That's all, So I paint, I write. I got a book coming out now.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
So
yeah, it's
tell us
called
about the book.
Well, it's called That Guy. It's coming out in October. I just got a publisher like 5 days ago. So it's coming out. It's called That Guy because everybody sees me and they go, "Hey, you're that guy on Friends." I go, "Yeah." Or, "Oh, hey, this is that guy. He's on, Breaking Bad." And everyone I walk down the street, they don't know my name, but they say, "Oh, are you that guy?" Yeah, I'm that guy. So that's what I named the book.
So when people do that, do they ask you, like I don't know, what's it like working with Clint Eastwood, or what's it like working with Jennifer Aniston, and do they ask you those questions?
Yeah. No. See, I think if I was really, really famous, where they knew my name, so they don't know my name. They know I'm that guy. They recognize my face, so it's recognition, but not name recognition. But if like Jennifer Aniston, if I was Jennifer Aniston, they come up to Jennifer Aniston and say, "What's it like to work with Larry Hankin?" Or "What's it like to work with the other Friends people?" Or "What's it like to work with Larry David?" Or what? Because they know them, so that's out of the way. They don't even know my name. So mainly the question is not what's it like to work with, which is the first question. The first question to me is, are you that guy? They want to identify, or pardon me, are you that guy? Yeah, could I take a picture with you? In other words, they're trying to figure out the here and now. I think with a famous person, like they would say, "Yeah, what's it like to work with Clint Eastwood?" Because they have you figured out. They know who you are. But I know you work with Clint Eastwood, and what's he like? But they don't know really exactly. They're trying to, put me in a cubbyhole. Are you that guy? That's what they want to find out. So once I tell them, then, then they can ask me. But I don't know what it's like to work with these people. I just say words and they all huddle up. They hang out together on Friends. specifically on Friends.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know anything about any of those 6 people because they never talked to me. I just rehearsed with them, and then they would disappear into their dressing room. Then they would come out and do the show. Or at the end of the scene, a cut, and then they would go and talk to the other 5 stars. They would, and they would just sit there and talk or stand there and talk, and I'd be over here. So I'd go to the craft services table. So I don't, Clint Eastwood, I know a little about. He's a great guy and he's a great actor, but he's a good person. He's a person.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want to know. What are they like when they're not acting?
Yeah. What's their temperament? That kind of thing.
Yeah, and Clint Eastwood is a real guy, I mean, you could bother him and he just gets a little angry, but just like anybody else, he didn't carry a grudge. Or, hey, what did you do that for? Or, or don't do that. Or, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah. Or, just like a buddy, And I forced myself to be that relationship because that's my relationship in the film. So I was also trying to do a good job as an actor and be real in front of the camera. So I promised myself, I goaded myself into hanging around with Clint Eastwood, just hang with him, because in the movie, that's what Charley Butts did with whatever his character was. So I was really rehearsing in a way, because Clint never went into his dressing room. And the what do you call it? The guy who runs the prison, what was his name? I can't remember his name. But
I don't remember. But y'all were actually in Alcatraz?
Oh, we did. We were on the island for 3 months, and that was a trip too. When I wasn't hanging around with Clint, trying to practice my being normal when I'm with Clint Eastwood. I'm on camera with Clint Eastwood, I wish my mother was alive. She would, faint over this. So to tamp down that kind of feeling of, oh, wow, I'm acting with Clint Eastwood, I just hung around with him when I wasn't acting with him, just to get used to it.
Yeah.
So when I got on camera, I would just be a normal guy who was hanging around with another convict to protect me from being somebody's girlfriend. That was what was going through my mind. So, okay, why am I always with Clint? Because he can fight off guys, and I gotta be cool. So I would hang around with him at lunch. He never went into his dressing room, but the warden of the prison would go into his dressing room and get drunk.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he didn't think he was drunk, but we could smell it on his breath. So, I mean, he didn't act drunk, and he didn't act drunk. He acted like the warden.
Wow.
But I thought, the way he was acting like a warden, I thought maybe he's using the liquor to get him into the warden frame of mind. I don't know. But I kind of asked Clint about that. I would say, notice I use the word Clint. I don't, Mr. Eastwood. I know Clint. So I asked Clint, I said, hey, McGowan is his name. I said, hey, the warden, you think he's drinking in the dress? Because he never would come out. He only come out when you're up, and then he would come out, he'd do his words, boom, and he'd go back in. I never saw him talking to anybody. I said, do you think he's drinking in there? I didn't want to say he was drunk or anything, but I could smell it on his breath. Because while we were waiting to, go into the set, and he goes, well, I think so. He goes, but see, he wasn't crazy about it or anything, or he didn't make any kind of movie kind of move about it. He just said, yeah, I think so. So, but he, yeah, I think so. So, well, what do you? I mean, do you ever talk to him or anything like that? He goes, no, man. He just goes into the dressing room. I don't know. I would love to talk to him. So it was that kind of, he was that kind of guy, Clint Eastwood. I mean, you just talk to him. And he never went into his dressing room. He done either two things, which was kind of cool. I guess that's why he's Clint Eastwood. He would come out these, what do you call these things? These barbells?
Dumbbells,
Oh,
right.
But like they were 50 pounds each. So they weren't like little things. I try to pick up. Well, he comes out with these in the morning when he, for his first shot, he would come out costume and he had these 2 dumbbells and he'd carry them out and he would just bump, he would just drop them next to the camera. He would just leave them there. And then he'd go in, he'd get whatever instructions, we would walk through it, and then we would do the scene. And as soon as the scene was over, and he doesn't like to do two takes. If you want to do 2 takes, he wants to know why. And he'll go to the director. And they've done 5, 6 movies together. So they knew each other, Don Siegel. But he would want to say, oh, well, okay, cut. Well, we got to, reset. We got to do it again. And Clint would go, why are we doing it again? We only did it once. I mean, we're making movies here, man. But he go, why are we doing this again? Oh, well, the camera jiggled. Oh, okay, fine. Let's do it again. I mean, we just want to know the reason. This is just, I don't know. It was OCD. Everybody's OCD in Hollywood. So we would do it. And then when he said cut, and he said, okay, moving on, he would pick up his dumbbells and work out until okay, you're up, Mr. Eastwood. And they would put him down. And so that's what he would do in his spare time. So that was one thing. He would just work out. Now, I couldn't figure out whether he was working out just because he was getting older and wanted to stay healthy, or that's probably he wanted to be buff for the movie because that's mostly what the convicts do.
Right.
They work out. So they're all stockers. So but I thought, well, if that's how he gets into his character, fine with me. I'm walking around with him to get in mine. So if he wants to lift dumbbells. So that was one. The other thing was he always ate with the extras.
Really?
There was 200, yeah. And there was 200 extras. So the extras ate, either in the yard or something, but they had tables for 200 guys, these long tables. And they had, and he would eat with them. He'd get in line with us, Well, McGowan would have his, meals sent to the dressing room, We never saw him.
Like a prima donna.
Yeah, but once you do like a lot of movies, you just accept whatever is going on as, well, this is what it takes for that person to do this job. And you just, if you want to, I've worked on the set. I've been with Lucille Ball, and she was the prima donna of prima donnas. She was the diva of divas. She was the what was there's a woman singer who I keep on complicating. Her husband was Ike, who used to Tina Turner. Tina Turner. Lucille Ball was the Tina Turner of comedy. I mean, she's a hard worker. I played baseball on her team, Lucille Ball's team. I played baseball with her in Central Park, and I've acted with her. And there's no comparison with who she is in real life. As a comedian, she's the best. And that's why Tina Turner is the best at what she does. She works out. Tina Turner works out. Lucille Ball works out. She gets into it and you can't beat her. She's the best. And she's a diva when she gets off stage. Like, instead of working out with Belle, cut, she walks off to the side. This is Lucille Ball. And what she does is she just stands like a statue like this. She goes, blah, 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 blah. Cut, thank you, moving on. She just walks about 10 feet away. She stands like this. And then 4 women from the makeup department just go around her like you can't get near her. They just surround her. And one just does this to her costume. One does this to her hair. One puts on more makeup. And one checks her eyes and the makeup on her cheeks, And so they protect her from being able to talk to anybody. So that's like McGowan going into the dressing room and having a shot of bourbon or something.
Jeez,
she surrounds herself so nobody can get near her and they'll work on her and she'll stand there like that. And maybe she'll talk to one of the women. She'll say, how's my eyes? No, there, but they don't do anything because she's perfect. I mean, she just moved her mouth and said words. She didn't, Yours, Mine, and Ours is the movie I'm talking about. She just, and so one day I was staring at this. I mean, I couldn't help it. I got off to the side. I'm just watching this little diva, this magnificent diva, go through her little thing with the women and the hair. And she literally says, "You, young man, come over here." She just did like that, Me? Yes, you, come here. So what I was doing was I was bagging her groceries. That was my part. She was in Yours, Mine, and Ours were in the grocery store. They were buying a lot because they had a lot of kids. That was the whole point of the movie. Right. So it was a funny. They were going shopping, her and Henry Fonda going shopping. So the joke was they bought, a huge amount of food for all the kids, and I had to bag it. So that was, and I think my line was paper or plastic. That was my line. So bagging the stuff. So she goes, "Come here." So I go, and she's talking. And so when I walked over, the women stopped, but they didn't get out of the way. They just stopped. Like if they were going like this to the hair, they would go, and they would just stand there, around her, waiting for her. And she'd be talking to me. She'd say, "Young man." I go, "Yes." She says, you're probably a very good actor, but if you get in my light once more, you're not going to be here tomorrow. Thank you. And then she goes back, and then they went back to the thing, and I go, whoa, what the hell was that? So for the rest of the day, I just try to stay out of her light. I forgot about acting and anything else, I'm bagging the stuff. Where's the light? Am I on her? So, so then that's how she does it. But what I'm saying is the point is you learn to accept the divaness of her divaness.
Well, you can't deny her success.
Excuse me?
You can't deny her success. I mean,
well, yeah, so you accept whatever she does, and each actor, each star has developed a way of being on the set and either not being bothered or remembering their line. So they each have their own weirdness. And once you do about 100 shows, you just don't even notice the weirdness. It's just, like when you're when you're crossing the street, you understand where the cars are. You don't have to think about it. Mm-hmm. You just cross when it's time to cross. It's the same thing with working with stars. You just accept whatever they're doing as normal. I didn't care what Clint Eastwood did or this diva did. I just said, that's when you get to be a star, you get quirky and you start having these rituals when you get in front of a camera or when you see a camera. They're rituals to them, and I accept it as that. But some of them are very far out, Some of them, like, they to fight their nervousness, the stars' nervousness, they talk. They'll talk to anybody about anything except their part, which I can't do. I have to concentrate on my lines. I have to take time and go. So that's my weirdness. I go, off to the side, and I just try to be calm and remember my lines. And some of them just want to talk. They'll talk to the cameraman. They'll talk to the crew. And they go, blah, 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 blah. So, you don't know what, they're talking about normal stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, Mr. Hankin, you're up. Blah, blah, boom. And then they'll just go in and boom, nail it. And I go, how the hell did they do that, man? They was just talking about telephones over there. And they go, you're up. And he goes, boom, and gets into character and everything, doesn't blow a line. And so that's their ritual. So, it's just everybody has their... That's the interesting thing about making movies. I never wanted to be an actor, so I have to have something else to get me through the day. I'm not a friend of acting, the job. Yeah. I never wanted to be an actor. The money was good. That's why I do it. I'm honest, I'm a painter. I'm a writer. So, because when I get a script, I'll say, this is written. I don't like. Can I change it? That's when you've changed level. It's a very pecking order system, by the way.
Right.
First you're a stand-in, then you're just a crowd, and then you get a line, then you come in for one day, then you get maybe 2 scenes, maybe you come in 2 days, then they hire you for the week. So, and you get used to blah, 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 and how it works. And you develop your way of being an actor. But I never wanted to be an actor. I just liked the money. And the memorizing the lines was just a really big, this is the cubby hole in a corporation is like learning lines to me. Learning lines was like just being in a cubby hole and being in a corporate system.
That's no way to live.
No, I have dyslexia. So, it's not, no, if you want to be an actor, that's part of the job. And then you accept it. Hey, I want to be an actor. I like memorizing lines. I like going over it, developing the character. It's all on the page. It's got to be on the page. And actors, I see people who love being actors. They want to be actors. They love being a stand-in or just having a couple of lines or just coming in. But no, I just want, I want the money. I want the paycheck because I now have an apartment and I want to, I want to have free time to mad money. So, but then after a while, suddenly the money isn't cutting it. What do you want? More money? I just don't want to do the part. Yeah, but we're offering you more money. Yeah. Right now, this month, I don't need any money. Mm-hmm. My rent is paid. My car payment is paid. I bought all my food. I went shopping. I got moved food for a month. So the rest of the time is my money. The rest of the money that I have left over, it's mine. Right. I'm going to buy a jacket. I'm going to go out on the date. I'm going to blow it. Okay. And then sometimes you need money. So, but I never wanted to be an actor. And that's the difference. I needed them. I sound like I'm listening to myself talking to you. And I said, well, I'm mentioning money an awful lot. I don't want money that much because I do turn down jobs because I don't like the part. So it's not, I don't like, because I just turned down something to go to Europe next year. Go to Europe. And they paid me a lot of money just to go to Europe, just to sign autographs. In other words, to give you a guarantee. Come to Europe and sign autographs and we'll give you thousands. And I go, there's agents who just book that, Comic-Cons. So I said, no, I don't want to do it. Well, yeah, but the money is really great, Larry. Yeah, I know it's really great, but I don't want to fly. And the planes, sometimes they get stuck. They shut down. Yeah, I'm going to be stuck over there. I don't know what the COVID thing is over there. I don't want to be out of this country. I want to be, within a train of my doctor. I'm perfectly healthy, but I need that brain satisfaction. And I don't want to be in Europe. I don't want to go in Europe now. So I turned down the money. Well, the agent doesn't understand that. They keep on saying, yeah, but Larry, I'll fly with you. I don't need help flying. I just don't want to get on an airplane. So it's not even the money. Here's what I want to do, either nothing or what I want to do.
Right.
It's not that I don't want to be an actor. I guess I'm just caught up on saying money a lot on a podcast.
Would you rather be painting and making money
Yes!
off of that?
Yes, I'd rather sell my paintings. If you go to my website, my paintings, there's about 40 of them. They're very expensive. I unfortunately got hooked up with a really expensive gallery. But, so like $300, $400, like those. But I made them all into T-shirts for $18. So if you go to thereallarryhankin.com, that's my website.
I'm going to put that.
All my paintings are on T-shirts. We have about 40 different T-shirts. So you can get it for $18, I think. And some of them are $13. But if you want to buy a painting that size, it's like between $300 and $500. I don't know. But the originals, they're actually museum worthy. the inks are museum inks. In other words, if you wanted to make a museum, if you were hired by a museum, there's a job and there's something you love doing. You know, like your bliss. You know, whatever.
Exactly.
But if you can live and do your bliss and live or do what you want to do, and also make a living at it, that's the greatest. I mean, that's why I wrote the book. This book that's coming out, it's called that. It's coming out in October. And it's just my life in show business. It's a cautionary tale.
Do you know about when in October?
No, they just said that in the contract it says it has to be released by October for the Christmas season.
Okay.
So the contract says October. I don't know when.
Let's see, my birthday is October 5th. So
there. Somebody should buy you the book to as a birthday present. Your wife should buy you the book for a birthday present. Yeah. It's a very funny, easy read. It's great. It's about my life in show business. It's like we've been talking about. I haven't talked about anything in the book, but it's like what we're talking about, you know. But if I could make a living paying the rent, car payment, and food, and a little mad money, then I could do it by being a writer, because I love being a writer. I love writing, sitting at home, and I love selling the books and talking about the book, you know, and earning a living by doing what I love doing, which is writing and painting, you know. But meanwhile, well, I don't have to do it. I kind of dropped out. I dropped out of acting because I had enough money kind of saved up and residuals and all that. So I can now aim at doing exactly what I want or nothing. And right now, I've got doing nothing down. I can, I mean, because it's hard to do nothing. You'd be surprised. I lived in my car. I was homeless for a year. Oh, wow. And you have nothing to do. You have no job to go to. To fill a day, if you are homeless, is not easy, Buster. It's work to get through when you have no place to go, you have no money, and you have no place to sleep. So I lived in my car, thank God. But you can't park anywhere at night in any city. Sure. There are certain places where you can't park overnight. And, you know, I would have, either I'd wake up, think it's raining, and no, it's a drunk pissing on my back wheel, you know. Well, you know, that's what drunks do. I used to do when I was a kid, you know, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll piss on this back wheel. Yeah, but when you're living in it, it's not funny. Sure. Or you have to drive around looking for a place to park where you can sleep overnight. I've been awakened by cops, you know, banging on the side of the car. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, you can't sleep in there, you know, no parking, you know, 6 a.m., you know, 12 midnight to 6 a.m., whatever the sign says. You can't park it. You got to move it. Or they tow it away. You know, sometimes I'll not look at the sign and I'll just wander off looking for food or money or a friend or a place to, you know, take a shower. You got to call people.
That's how you know when you got true friends.
Oh, yeah. But the friends' wives are who you got to watch out for. You know, why is he coming here? Who's that guy in the shower?
That's
a friend of mine. Yeah. Who's that guy? Who's that guy in the shower? You know, I wasn't there yet. I was just living. I wasn't working then. You know, I was making a living at the committee. You know, but I was living in my car. Who's that guy? Or can he sleep on the couch? He's been here for 2 weeks. He can't sleep here anymore. You know, that's the wives. I could hear that. They were in the kitchen. I would hear that. You know, no, he can't stay here anymore. I don't care if he is your friend. I mean, you know, you hear that. It's a blow to your ego. I mean, to your sense of self. You know, you've got a friend, but you got to deal with the wife. You know, I mean, then other wives, you know, just would cook me, you know, the most best French toast they ever tasted. You know, because you know, you can stay here, fine. So she loved that, you know. You want some French toast this morning, Larry? She would walk over to the couch and say, hey, wake up. You want some French toast? Yeah. Okay. You got it. If you're living in a car, it's going to be hard to stay married or have a girlfriend. I mean, or a boyfriend or anything. other than you. And you can't even have you and it was, whoa, it's me and my guitar. At least my guitar was stolen. My battery was stolen, the car battery. So I couldn't even move it when it got, time to move. See, the thing is, and this is what I learned, and maybe you did too, but here's the thing. You do not, your job is to get through today and find a safe place to sleep tonight. That's the job of the homeless person. Get through today, which is really hard, and find a safe place to sleep tonight. Also very hard. That's one in the same. And the second thing is that I don't know what the second thing is. I mean, there was two things I had to kind of remember, I guess. That you're not going to have a girlfriend. You're not going to have a boyfriend. Nobody's going to live with you. And finally, one of the things I learned is get a girlfriend who has an apartment and move in with her. That's how I got off the street. That's how I got off the street.
Whatever works, right?
Well, yeah, whatever. I found a girl who would put up with me. She would take me home. I mean, see, I felt emasculated. She felt like a nurse or a savior, Well, let me help this guy. You can sleep over my house, or you can sleep in my bed. But it's only going to be for tonight or, okay, maybe tomorrow night. And then I would work it, and then after a couple of months, maybe I could move in, because always say. But again, it's not easy to be homeless.
I want to thank all you folks out there that you've joined us for the first time. I hope you'll come back. Please hit that subscribe button. For my regulars, you guys rock because, well, you make it possible for me to do this. Don't forget to like. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Hit those notifications. And until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network